Hi, I'm Jim Frankenfield with a weekly update for the avalanchecenter.org. We missed one last week. I was away at a conference. It is today, Thursday, I guess it's Friday morning, 3 a.m. in Tbilisi, Georgia, June 9th. It's Thursday evening in the US, late afternoon or evening. So this week I'm recording this on Thursday and hoping to get it posted Friday. That's a day earlier than usual, but we missed one last week. This may be a better schedule anyway next year when we hopefully get this underway next year. This may be the last one for the season. It's spring and early summer here. It sounds like that's true in many places. Sounds like the snow conditions now reflect that in many places in the US. So I don't know whether there'll be any reason to record another one unless something changes, in which case we'll do one more. There's not many people watching this right now. Anyway, this spring has just been very hard to do any promotion, although there has been work done on the website and improvements done on the website, and we're desperately in need of funding to support that. But aside from doing the work, there hasn't been a whole lot of notices or promotion or effort to reach out to people. I think by the fall we'll have more effort once again. There'll certainly be more work done over the summer on the site and on some new publications and things. And so in the fall, maybe we'll do this on Thursday and get it posted on Friday prior to the weekend. So this may be the last one. Start off with the standard things. We really need support. I'm hoping after 30 years online, I'd like to be able to keep this project going. At this point, it's actually funded partly or largely, increasingly out of my pocket. And I can continue to keep it running and put in the time and create the resources, but there's a serious limit to how much I can underwrite it. So think about supporting us. You can buy a t-shirt, skiing skeleton t-shirt. I've got mine on today now that it's summer weather. We have a pocket logo or older traditional logo, and the back has the large skiing skeleton logo. So that's one way to support us, and we have a few Nalgene bottles as well. You can also like and subscribe and share our videos. We did create videos this spring for the spring climbing and mountaineering avalanche course. At this point, it's ahead of what conditions are kind of ahead of what they'd normally be. I think there's just not much interest anymore, unfortunately. But we do have a series of videos explaining that. You can see how our course programs work in general. Before next season, we'll make some more for the level one. If you like and subscribe and share, we'll get more support, more views, more users, and we'll reach more people with our avalanche education and safety and news information. So the project's brought to you largely by me at this point, but to the extent that it's not by me, it's by those of you that support the project. We sometimes have people think that they have a membership here because they donated to the U.S. Forest Service. Well, we're not the Forest Service, and we're not the government. When you make a donation to your local Forest Service, it doesn't help us at all, and it doesn't support us. So please think about modest $25 a year, which is probably what a lot of people spend on coffee or beer in a month even, or less. We'll get you a membership for a year and the benefits that come with that. You can read our publications online for free. You can get a Kindle version for free if you'd like. You can access a lot of the incident database. There's a lot of things you can access that you can't without a membership. Most of all, you support the project and keep it going. Now, I know no one else, I don't think there's any sites, including Google and Facebook and Twitter, they haven't been around 30 years. We're still here after 30 years. So the other thing, it doesn't really support us, but the other thing I'd like to mention is our discussion group that we've created. You can join this, and when there's more avalanche interest and issues next season, you can ask questions here, especially technical questions, but any kind of questions. You can share conditions, ask about what you're seeing, ask about things like alpha angles, which is a source of great confusion often among people claiming to answer questions about that. So top technical questions like that are welcome. And remember, you can post anonymously. That's welcome. So if you're afraid people are going to shoot you down or attack you as a so-called newbie or denigrate you, you're welcome to post anonymously. I know some people are afraid to post Avalanche questions and information because they don't get a very good response sometimes. So you can join that, and hopefully we'll see more use of it next year. You can use it anytime, but you can use it next year. You can go to our page. You can like our page, the Avalanche Center page. We're up to 2.4 thousand likes and followers. By current standards, I guess that's not a whole lot, but it's growing slowly. It could grow faster if you like it and share it. There's a separate page for the Avalanche Institute. So that's what we need to do. We need to get some support and help over the summer. Now let's go on to what we have for conditions at this point in time. The weather seems like it's been fairly warm. I haven't heard much about spring deep wet avalanches. I don't think there's been any serious cycle like that. I haven't heard about any avalanche incidents since my last update almost 2 weeks ago. At this point, it sounds like early summer. People are talking about summer-like conditions in the snowpack as far as avalanches go. I haven't heard of any incidents in North America since the last update, any avalanche incidents of any kind. There have been other incidents. Someone was rescued on Mount Shasta due to rockfall. There have probably been some others as well. If anything more happens in the way of incidents, it's likely to be one of two things: either a large snowstorm, which at higher elevations is possible now in June, even through June. The other would be in high-risk climbs in places like Alaska. The last incident we did have was on Moose's Tooth, which was a somewhat high-risk climb. It's not the kind of thing all of us go do. And we do see incidents like that happen through the spring. I don't think we're going to see any more in places like the Northwest unless we have a storm, which is why I think the season's coming to a close. A couple of lingering issues. There were 3 people killed on Mount Kolchak in Washington earlier in the winter. One of those bodies melted out and was found by a hiker. I don't know what the status of any other bodies there is. There was also a serious incident in Colorado, and a survivor got to a friend's house, a real epic trip to reach a friend's house or cabin. And during the whole event or along the way, his dog got lost, and I haven't heard any more about that. The last I heard, there were indications the dog had survived, but don't know if he's been found or recovered. So some things are recovered. Hopefully the dog's recovered. Sooner or later, the other bodies on Kolchak will be melted out and recovered. I saw a review today on Peace Tours, which is another site that's been around about as long as we have. Haven't really communicated with other sites the way we did in the early days, but they are still out there. According to their count, in Switzerland, there were 16 incidents this season. Remember, it's not quite over. You could still have more, but 21 fatalities and 16 incidents, which is above their average of 17 fatalities. I don't know what the average number of incidents is. There were more details in that article on Peace Tours, and we should put a link to that on our incidents section on the front page. We're cleaning up the collection of incidents reports. All of the U.S. reports are in the database and not on the incidents page now. So you can search and sort them. If you want to look at only snowmobile incidents or only Colorado incidents, you can do that now. The information in the files is not all complete. It varies with the incident. we need to finish working on that before we do our review. We do have a map of the season's incidents like we created last year. It's not quite finished. They're all on there, but there's not a summary of each one yet. And we'll be putting up graphs comparing the season to previous seasons and whatnot. We have that done for the last season or two in the incidents section. There's statistics graphs breaking down the incidents by activity, state, hazard rating, danger rating, things like that, both for the season and in comparison to the 10-year average. So we'll be working on that, and when we get caught up on all of that information, we'll produce another summary or review of the season's fatalities like we did for the last season. If you remember, you can read the one for the last season for free. Log into the members section, and it's free. If you're not a member, you can purchase it in either Kindle form or book form on Amazon. We will probably make the new one available over the summer to members online only until the end of September, because the end of September is technically the end of the avalanche and hydrologic year. We don't want to have anything happen after we've published a final version, as unlikely as that is when you get into mid-July. Which reminds me, we also have created a spring avalanche information page. There's a direct link in the members section if you log in. You don't need to be a member to access it. It's in the education section, which is you can find from the glossary if you look around. It was somewhat orphaned with the intent of moving all that to the Institute, but some of it is not in the Institute. The spring page, we'll be also sending an update out, I hope tomorrow, to our email list, which is long overdue. And maybe there'll be a link in there. There's some quizzes for spring conditions. There's a quandary. There's some things require membership, some do not. There are a couple of pages with information on spring avalanches. And actually, there's a couple listings of spring avalanches, which is what just reminded me of this. I was talking about getting into July. I believe the latest incidents we have in there for North America are in early July. There's one or two in our entire database. And after that, I don't believe we have any North American incidents, which is why I say the season is essentially is unlikely to be anymore after early July, if even then. But nonetheless, we'll release everything to the public at the end of September, but we will make a preliminary version available when it's done on the members site, and that'll be online, not published for Kindle or print yet. So that's where we are with the incidents. We'll be working on assessing those and reviewing those and summarizing those over the summer. I mentioned conditions are late spring and early summer. People are talking about sun cups starting to form, which is kind of the beginning and the end of ski season for most of us. Not a lot of fun to ski on, especially if the melt doesn't level them out, if you still have sun cups in the afternoon. There seem to be limited wet snow avalanche issues. I haven't seen much about that or heard much about that being an issue. The warming is still problematic in terms of crevasses, which are bridges are getting softer at different elevations, at different aspects. So some areas sound pretty well bridged, but others are opened up, and then there are areas in between those two situations where there are bridges and hidden crevasses, and those bridges will be continuing to soften, especially late in the day. So for that reason, if not for avalanches and rockfall, which is another issue, falling rock and ice is still an afternoon issue, dependent on the weather. For those reasons, it's still wise to start early. It's always wise to start early and end early when you're mountaineering. Streams are also still an issue. Stream flows are quite high in places, and bridges are missing in some areas. There was a report from a traverse of the Sierra It made a record time, actually. The person doing that solo found unusually large snowfields and berg runs. Usually berg runs are primarily at the top of a glacier, but they can exist at the top of a steep snowfield. And because of the very large total snowfall in the Sierra this winter, there are large snowfields that are steep enough. And due to creep and glide, which you should know about if you've taken an avalanche course, certainly if you've taken any of ours, you know what those creep and glide are. Those things help create a bergschrund at the top of the snowfield. Those are probably not hidden with bridges. I would just guess on the snowfields that that's happening and that they're expanding, but that they're not hidden. They may present obstacles, though, for hikers and mountaineers on foot. I believe that person also mentioned that there will be difficult stream crossings. A lot of bridges, especially smaller makeshift seasonal bridges, were washed out in the Sierra. So that's going to be a problem in some places. And with the high stream flow, finding a workaround might be a challenge. I believe it was on Mount Lassen. There was a report of slower melting in the forest than up above, and this is a common problem in the spring. So in the forest, there'll be hard-packed old snow that takes a long time to melt, but when you get up out of the forest above tree line, where the direct sun hits the snow, it melts quicker. So sometimes it looks down below, you see the snow, you think it might still be good skiing, and you get up high and it's not so good anymore. It's been melting a lot faster than what you saw in the forest. And that snow in the forest becomes, it's still better than walking, but you better have some old skis, some rock skis. You're going to be hitting all kinds of debris on the snow surface. All that's familiar to me from the Oregon Cascades, where I did a lot of spring mountaineering and touring about this time of year, depending on the year. So that's conditions. And I think the Northwest did not have the deep snow that the Sierra has. The Cascade Lakes Highway was open before Memorial Day, which is usually the target. In a heavy year, it could take longer, but if they can, they get it open earlier. And I think I'll just finish with a comment on New Zealand and Australia are starting their season. So they're beginning their winter season down there. And we have resources and we have people use the site from down there. But it's not a large population, and because it's not winter here, we don't focus on that a lot. We tend to do background work. There's a lot of work that always needs to be done with programming and CSS style sheets and all that kind of stuff, as well as summarizing and archiving the incidents. So I did see, I think someone in New Zealand's opening. I saw something about Australia. I haven't seen anything about South America, but it'll be early season down there soon too. So that's it. Just remember, we need support over the summer. We didn't do much this spring to reach out to people or to ask for support. And we certainly don't do much over the summer. People aren't even looking at any avalanche or snow issues in summer and just don't care. But we do have bills that continue over the summer. We have to pay the web hosting and we have to pay various other fees. Not to mention the fact that there is some past costs are sitting on the credit card at the moment. So think about a membership or a donation of some size. Think about getting a t-shirt, or just help us out by promoting the site and sharing our Facebook resources and our website. So that's it. It's approaching the middle of June, and this may be it for the season. You can check back in a week or a week and a half and see if I've added anything, but at the moment I don't expect to. There will be a brief email update sent out, I hope, tomorrow, and there may be a couple links like the spring resource page in there. So barring anything unexpected, I'll see you with these updates again at some point in the fall when the next season starts on October 1st or sometime after that. And we should have some new resources available as of the end of this season on September 30th. So have a good summer. Remember the comments about things like bird funds and stream crossings and rockfall. And don't forget entirely about spring avalanches, although that doesn't appear to be much of a problem at this point, unless we do have a late season heavy snowfall at higher altitude. So that's it. And until next season, bye.